Peace, peace, peace. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Salamu alaikum. And welcome to another day to labor in the vineyard of the Most High with your brother. Another day to get in the word to see what the Most High got to serve. And what we gonna eat on today? We're going to get the answer to another mystery or something that's been hidden in the scriptures. But we're going to see how the luminaries in the sky connect with the luminaries in the flesh. All right? So we're going to see why in the book of Job, the Most High be talking to him about Arcturus, Orion, and the Pleiades. And in the movie Men in Black, the first one, when the dog had the little thing around his neck, I remember it was something that always stuck with me because I always been in the space and in the movies about aliens and all that type stuff. So I remember when he told him, he said the key to the universe is on Orion's belt. That's like one of the sayings from movies that just always stuck with me. The key to the universe is on Orion's belt. And I always been into looking at stars and stuff. So, I mean, I was always fascinated by the constellations and all that. So, we're going to get an answer to the mystery of what's so important about them constellations to where the Most High mentioned them numerous times in the scriptures. All right? Let's eat. Let's eat. We're going to start in the wisdom of the Druids. Let's set it up with the wisdom of the Druids. Section 2, starting at verse 7. You must accomplish in a diligent fashion with the most perfect elation in the liveliest ardor everything that the Lord of Light commands you to do. And we know the Lord of Light is the Great Spirit, the Most High. Work to conquer the power of living. Meditate on the glory of He who created the universe. May He enlighten your mind. Go over this. 16 or 17, verse 5. Establish yourself in the cause of the Lord of Light as strongly and immutably as a mountain. All right. So we just wanted to start it off painting a picture that the Great Spirit, the Most High, is the Lord of Light, the Lord of the luminaries. He being the great luminary that gave life to the little luminaries. Sun, moon, and stars, man, woman, and child. We are luminaries in the flesh that look up and see the luminaries in the sky, on earth as it is in heaven. Rakim used to have a song that used to say, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, sun, moon, and star, man, woman, and child, and so is Allah. Get it? Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, sun, moon, and star, man, woman, and child, and so is Allah. The Lord of Light is within all of them. The sun represents the masculine luminary, the man. The moon, with her feminine light, represents the woman. The moon governs the woman's cycle. The child is the offspring of the sun and the moon. Knowledge represents the logic of the man. Wisdom, the Holy Spirit, is feminine like the moon and the woman. And together they breed understanding. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, sun, moon, and star, man, woman, and child, and so is Allah. Light Everything is about light. Knowledge is light. Wisdom is light. Understanding is light. We done learned that the scriptures are books of light to feed our spirit man, which is light. The sun, moon, and stars are lights. And as we just read, the Most High is the Lord of light. Let's keep eating. Moses, chapter 1, in the Pearl of Great Price. If you don't know by now, the Pearl of Great Price got the book of Moses and the book of Abraham. Moses, chapter 1, verse 33. And worlds with the S, without number, have I created. And I also created them for my own purpose. And by the Son I created them, which is my only begotten. Go over to chapter 7. Moses chapter 7, verse 30. And were it possible that man could number the particles of the earth, yea, millions of earths like this, millions of earths like this, it would not be a beginning to the number of thy creations. Go back to Moses chapter 1, verse 38. And as one earth shall pass away, and the heavens thereof, even so shall another come. And there is no end to my works, neither to my words. When we look up in the sky, all of the balls of light that we see, they are kingdoms of glory that all have a purpose. The Gentiles then tricked us to making us think that life only resides on the earth. That's a bold-faced lie, according to the word. All of the kingdoms of light have their purpose, but we've been blinded to the fact that we are luminaries ourselves. That's why we had to remove the veil of darkness so that our light can begin to shine and increase. And the scriptures increase our light because they are books of light written by luminaries. Spirits of light feeding spirits of light. All right. Go to Job. Let's go to Job. The book of Job, chapter 9. Starting at verse 1. Then Job answered and said, I know it is so of a truth, but how shall man be just with his creator? Go down to verse 9. Which makes Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades in the chambers of the south. Which makes Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades. This when we first get introduced in the scriptures to these three constellations. So it's something special about these three constellations. That's what we want the answer to the mystery of. Go to Job chapter 38. Job chapter 38. Starting at verse 1. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, verse 4, where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast this understanding. Verse 31. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades? The sweet influences of Pleiades. So Pleiades have to have some type of influence on the earth. The constellation of Pleiades have to have some type of influence on the luminaries on the earth. Can thou bind the sweet influences? Sweet influences. So it gotta be some good influences coming from the Pleiades. Can thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades? Or loose the bands of Orion? Loose the bands of Orion. The key to the universe resides on Orion's belt, according to the movie Men in Black. The key to the universe resides on Orion's belt. Can thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Arcturus, the constellation of Arcturus with his sons. Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Pleiades, Orion, and Arcturus. They got some effect on the luminaries within the earth. Go to Amos. Amos chapter 5. Amos chapter 5, verse 8. Seek him that makes the 7 stars in Orion. I got a note in my book that say the 7 stars is the Pleiades. The 7 stars are the constellation of the Pleiades. Seek him that makes the 7 stars of Pleiades in Orion. So there's a connection here that we got to bridge. Let's go to the lost books of the Bible. The lost books of the Bible. And we're going to go to the report of Pontius Pilate. The report of Pontius Pilate, the governor of Judea. Started the part that says, now. Speaking on when Yahushua was crucified. Speaking on when brother Jesus was crucified. Let's see the effect it had on the luminaries. Now, because we know that Christ was a master of light. Christ is a title that means the anointed one. But Yahushua was a master of light. He was a big luminary within the flesh. Full of light, because his eye was singled to the glory of the Father. Meaning his whole body was full of light, like we read in the last lesson. Now, when he was crucified, darkness came over all the world. The sun was altogether hidden, and the sky appeared dark while it was yet day. So that the stars were seen, though still they had their luster obscured. Wherefore, I suppose your excellency is not unaware that in all the world they lighted their lamps from the 6th hour unto evening. In all the world, the whole world was in darkness. They lit their lamps early in the morning because the whole world was in darkness. And the moon, which was like blood, did not shine all night long, although it was at the full. It was a full moon, but it didn't give off no light. And the stars in Orion, there you go again, and the stars in Orion made lamentations over the Jews because of the transgression committed by them. The stars in Orion made lamentation. So the constellation of Orion was affected by the death of Yahushua. Oh, it's something special about Orion. The stars in Orion made lamentation over the Jews because of the transgression committed by them. Next. Let's go back to the book of knowledge. The book of knowledge, the keys of Enoch. We're going to start page 53, key 106. Let's see what, first we're going to start about Pleiades. The blueprint for this physical universe pre-exists in the higher heavens. Stick with me here. Stick with me here. The blueprint for this physical universe pre-exists in the higher heavens, in the star codes of the Pleiades. So the blueprint for the universe is in the star codes of the Pleiades. From these codes, from these star codes in the Pleiades, the Elohim, lords of light in Orion, create the formation of the unseen trap light, which is modulated by the thought forms of the lords of light. Basically like in Genesis, where it say they went down and it was darkness upon the face of the sea. All right. That's the unseen trap light. It hasn't been formed yet. Again, from these codes, from the star codes of the Pleiades, where the blueprint is, the Elohim, lords of light in Orion, create the formation of the unseen, which is modulated by the thought forms, is molded by the thought forms, is created by the thought forms of the lords of light into the creation of the physical universe. Let's get a precept for that. Go back to Abraham, the same one we read in the last lesson. Abraham, chapter 3. We got to get a visual in mind so we won't get lost here off of wordplay. Abraham, chapter 3, verse 24. And there stood one among them that was like unto God, speaking on Yahushua when he was in the spiritual realm. And we know that Christ and the angels created. They was the ones creating things. And there stood one among them that was like unto God. And he said unto those who were with him, the angels that was with him, the angels, we will go down. So they went down from somewhere. There was some luminary, some kingdom of light that they were at. They said, we will go down, for there is space there, and we will take of these materials. So they took materials and a blueprint from somewhere, which we just read is Pleiades. Pleiades hold the blueprints. All right. The star codes of Pleiades hold the blueprints. All right. So what they saying? We will go down from the kingdom of light they were on, for there is space there. All right. So they seen some darkness, some light that hadn't been formed yet. They said there's space there. And we will take of these materials, and we will make an earth whereon these may dwell. They made an earth for the spirit children to dwell on. All right. And we will prove them herewith to see if they would do all the things whatsoever the Lord their God should command them. All right. So they took the blueprint and they went and built the universe, the earth, the heavens. They built all that so that we can have our time of probation in the flesh. All right. So now let's go back to right here when we're speaking on the Pleiades and Orion. The blueprint for this physical universe pre-exists in the higher heavens, in the star codes of the Pleiades. From these star codes and Pleiades, the Elohim, lords of light, which we just read, and Orion created the formation of the unseen, which was the darkness of the deep, which is modulated or molded and created by the thought forms of the lords of light into the creation of the physical universe. All right. Verse 8. Both the Pleiades and Orion are cooperatively used in the programming of life synthesis from the pure light bodies, of Orion into the transfigured corresponding physical forms of the Pleiades program. All right. So Pleiades and Orion is working hand in hand. All right. From Orion, the pure light bodies of Orion go into the transfigured corresponding physical forms of the Pleiades. All right. So the higher intelligence of Orion go into the physical forms of the Pleiades, because the Pleiades holds the blueprint for the physical forms of creation. But Orion is where the spiritual seeds come from. They go into them physical forms that come from Pleiades. All right, we're going to see it. The Pleiades represent the key to physical proto-creation. It represents the galactic beginning of the physical Adamic household, which that household is the flesh. All right. So Adam, the flesh of Adam, the blueprint comes from the Pleiades. And if you remember in the sealed portion, it told us there was the other race of beings on the earth before the Most High sent Adam. All right, so the ones that they tell us is Lucy, who they try to say that's our ancestors, which that's not true. Lucy, the Neanderthals, they was here for a purpose, to get things ready and in order before the Most High sent his crown jewels. They were supposed to die off after that, but Lucifer used them for his own diabolical purposes. All right, so we didn't come from them. They was here for their own purpose. We were sent after that. The starseed was sent afterwards. All right. Orion emanates, this verse 11. Orion emanates the gnosis, or the knowledge, which creates the spiritual powers of Christ. All right. Orion emanates the knowledge which creates the spiritual powers of the Christ. However, the pre-physical garment of light, the physical garment of light, which is needed to embody this higher light consciousness, comes from the Pleiades. The Pleiades got the blueprint for the physical. Orion emanates the spiritual, the high consciousness. The higher light consciousness emanates from Orion. The physical side of creation, that blueprint is in the Pleiades. All right. Verse 12. Enoch clearly tells us in this key that the Adamic race, as the family of God, has come in the physical form from Orion in the Pleiades. All right. If you get you one of these keys of Enoch, there's a lot of deep science in here. There's a lot of science in here. So I'm trying to pull out the pieces that can be simplified so that we can get the understanding without going into some of the other parts that just gonna lose people. Because part of it I can't understand. But the parts that I can, that's why I'm skipping around to tie it together so it makes sense. All right. So basically what it's saying, the physical side of creation came from the Pleiades. That's where the blueprint was at. And that's what we read in the book of Abraham when they came down with materials, which is blueprints, and they created the universe and the earth and the heavens. All right. But the spiritual powers emanated from Orion. And I guess that's why in the Men in Black movie, it said the key to the universe, which is the spiritual powers, that's the key to the universe. The key to the universe resides on Orion's belt. That's where the spiritual powers of Christ emanate from. All right. Let's see. Verse 36. Thus we see the Pleiades as reflecting the mathematics, being the blueprint of the lords of light in the creation of star systems and sun systems. We see the Pleiades in terms of the organic seed of the spiritual people of the Christ race, the spiritualites. And we see the Pleiades in terms of the greater sacrifices of light in cosmology. All right, next let's go to page 181, key 201. Now let's get the understanding of Arcturus. All right, so we see Pleiades, the blueprint for physical creation. Orion, where the spiritual powers of Christ come from. The spiritual powers of our spirit man come from. All right, and we see those two go hand in hand. Now let's get an understanding of Arcturus. Key 201, page 181, verse 6. Our closest center for soul mapping is Arcturus, the shepherding frequency of light. The shepherding frequency of light. Arcturus is a shepherd of the light, which governs the preparation of man for the coming of the brotherhoods of life, of light. Arcturus, again, is a shepherding, is a shepherd. Arcturus is a shepherd frequency of light, which governs the preparation of man. All right, so it has this shepherd man is pushing us towards some for the coming of the brotherhood of light. It upgrades us as a shepherd, the same way Christ was the good shepherd. Arcturus is the shepherd frequency of light. Arcturus means the good shepherd. The ancients acquired this name from the lords of light, who revealed Arcturus as one of the homes of the shepherding focus of knowledge. It's saying knowledge stems also from Arcturus. 9. Arcturus is our midway station. It is the seat of our administration, and it's the thesaurus which holds the key documents used for governing the soul progression of our planetary intelligence. Again, Arcturus holds the key documents used for governing the soul progression of our planetary intelligence. Arcturus is also the first threshold of clearance for travel beyond our consciousness time zone. As we evolve a new astrophysics and cosmology, we cannot move ahead into this new age without taking inventory of all information which has come to us from Arcturus. All right, so information comes to us from that star system. We cannot ignore the shepherd guide, which stands right in front of us with the guiding staff or pointer. We must recognize that this truly is a living force of intelligence. That constellation is a living force of intelligence to which we must direct our attention. As we develop the physical light technology to decode space signals coming in from Arcturus and from their space technology orbiting within our solar system, we work with this scientific fulfillment of this key. This technology from Arcturus provides us with the knowledge of geophysical changes in relationship to larger astrophysical and spiritual transformations, which infect the entire planet during evolutionary changes. This knowledge is acquired by those who seek to understand the role of the sons of light. All right. Remember in the last lesson when we was talking about the hierarchies in the spiritual realm, Christ is a master of light. Buddha was a master of light. Krishna was a master of light. Christ was just higher than them. All right. But they all were masters of light, which received downloads from the spiritual realm. All right, because you got to remember, it's ministering angels in the spiritual realm. It's luminaries on multiple levels. Angels and archangels are luminaries. The major prophets that came were luminaries. The light inside of them, they received light from the spiritual realm. And what it's saying right here, the knowledge from Arcturus. This knowledge is acquired by those who seek to understand the role of the sons of light. This is why the Most High, as we learned, he had Yahushua going around studying these different teachings of the masters of light, which him, being a master of light himself, was able to decode it and give it back to the people so that they could better understand, so that he could be a light unto the nations. And by him coming to us as a master of light, we supposed to absorb his light to light up the light within us. Our light being our spirit man. Our spirit man absorbs light. So when we read these scriptures, being spiritual lights, our spirit man is eating as we reading these different books of scriptures, because we absorbing light. It's spirit to spirit transmission. The books of light were written by higher up luminaries than us, but they left them here for us to read, to power up the spirit man within us, to increase our light. So what we're saying right here is Arcturus, that constellation, is a shepherd where information is transmitted from. All right. Again, this knowledge is acquired by those who seek to understand the role of the sons of light. Remember, Christ said, I give them who belong to me the power to become sons of God, the same as he was. And as we read in the beginning, the Most High is the Lord of light. Christ was a son of light, sent to give light. Like it said, he said, I am the light of the world, the truth, the way, and the life, which is the light, the light, the light, the light of men. All right. So he came to light the lights, so that the lights, as they grew and increased in light, could be a light unto the Gentiles and the nations and their brothers and sisters who didn't comprehend the teachings at first. In connection with this teaching, the sons of light have established certain pyramids in South America, which are in direct alignment with Arcturus, and which give the timetable of astrophysical and geophysical change. All of the pyramids, I got a book called The Hidden Records. It shows all of the pyramids in the Americas, in Africa, in China. All of the pyramids worldwide are aligned with different star constellations. All right. And it was set up that way, like we see right here, by the sons of light. Those who had a greater capacity of light within them. They knew to align these pyramids with the constellations in the sky. They was getting downloads from them. There was energy centers. They were light centers. All right. Our purpose is to merge with them as we evolve towards the center of our galaxy and reign with the sons of light. All right. So we see, it's just a little quick lesson to answer the mystery to Arcturus, Pleiades, and Orion. Because the key to the universe, like told to me in Men in Black, resides on Orion's belt. So now we got a better understanding on the constellations and how the luminaries in the sky work with the luminaries in the flesh, the spirit men. All right. Light to light transmission is going on all over the place. That's why the carnal mind is enmity to God. Your carnal mind cannot benefit the creator. You can't absorb light when you stuck in that veil of darkness, in the illusion, the matrix. When you stuck in the matrix, you can't be of no assistance to the brotherhood of light. All right. And being that we light beings at our core, you working against yourself. So that's why he only coming back for a remnant. Only a remnant can be able to absorb the truth of the teachings and come to a true knowledge of who they are. That's why we got to rise above all of the carnal teachings. And that's why the mission that he assigned to me, I know my mission, I always try to take us to the spiritual aspect of things, which I did some lessons on the physical because it go hand in hand, just like Pleiades and Orion. You understand the physical, and once you got that down pat, then you start getting built up in the spirit. All right, so now we got the physical thing. We know we Israelites and all that. We know our role and the role that we supposed to play within creation. All right, and that's the so-called black people. All we is the firstborn of the children. All right, we the firstborn of the children. We the big brother to everybody else. That's why Christ came to us. We the image of the original man. So we got a job to uplift the rest of our brothers and sisters. That's why he came as a light bearer to give us the light, because we in the same image that he was. Because he came in the image of the original man. That's in the book of Mosaic we read the other day. All right, so he gave us the responsibility as the big brothers of the planet to lift up all our little brothers and sisters, all the other people, all the other nations. That's why we supposed to be a light to the Gentiles. But we got to absorb the light to be able to disseminate the light. All right, so that all of the children of the light, all of the star seeds can get lit up and we all can grow together. And when Big Bruh come back, when Christ come back in the near future, all of us got first dibs in the classroom with him. He gonna light all of us up even more so that our light can shine that much brighter. All right? Peace.